The 1st SS Panzer Regiment is ordered to move from the Villervest assembly area to a preparation area in the Blankenheimer Wald. There are not enough tanks for both battalions, so the 2nd Battalion will remain at Villervest. I reorganized the regiment for combat. In the meeting at 1st SS Panzer Division headquarters in Torndorf, we are given the Unternehmen Herbstnebel attack order. I hold a meeting to give the preliminary or the order for preliminary deployment to battalion commanders, regiment staff, and attached unit commanders. We were told 2 train loads of fuel have not arrived. Details on U.S. fuel dumps are handed out. Uncharacteristically, there is very little information on U.S. units and positions. I order extra ammunition to be picked up. 3 days rations will be issued. We are told of Panzer Brigade 150's Operation Grief. German troops wearing U.S. Army uniforms and using U.S. equipment and detailed procedures to avoid fratricide. The commando company will infiltrate U.S. lines after the attack starts to reconnoiter the routes to and both sides of the Meuse River. Pass on bogus orders to any U.S. units they meet, reverse road signs, remove minefield warnings, and cordon off roads with warnings of non-existent mines, destroy field telephone wires, radio stations, issue false orders, destroy bridges, ammunition dumps, fuel stores, and inspect the target bridges for demolitions. Panzer Brigade 150's Kampfgruppen will follow the 1st SS, 12th SS, and 12th Volksgrenadier until a breakthrough is achieved, then rush ahead and, using the information from the commando company, seize bridges across the Meuse. OK Vest gives the order to start the attack as planned. In the evening meeting at my headquarters, I issue a verbal attack order to battalion commanders, staff, and attachments. Enemy information is 1.5 infantry divisions in the front line, reserves around Elsenborn, an armor division north of Spa. The objective of the attack is the encirclement of the 21st English Army Group and the 9th and 1st American Armies by a quick assault on Antwerp and to destroy them in cooperation with our forces attacking south from Holland. Ruthless and rapid penetration is required. 277th Volksgrenadier Division, 12th Volksgrenadier Division, and 3rd Fallschirmjäger Division will break through the enemy front line. 1st SS Panzer Division and 12th SS Panzer Division will exploit the breakthrough. The decision to commit the Panzer divisions will be decided by the commanders of the 6th Panzer Army and Army Group B as the attack develops. 1st SS Panzer Division is to advance along Rollbahn Dora and Immel in 5 groups to reach the Meuse River in 1 to 2 days and establish bridgeheads for 2nd SS Panzer Corps to pass through and drive to Antwerp in another 5 days. My Panzer Group is assigned Rollbahn Dora, but it does not have to be rigidly adhered to. The 12th Volksgrenadier Division commander believes he can break through by 0700 on 16 December. There are a limited number of maps. Most are black and white, 1 to 100,000. Only a few are 1 to 50,000. Dawn is about 0745 and dusk 1700 hours. These are probably the last weapons our homeland can provide for us. We will be the first to reach the Meuse River.
The 291st mission was road maintenance and construction for the Army winterization program in the Corps area. Company Able was in Webermont, Company Baker in Malmedy, and Company Charlie in Chateau Frodecourt, and the Stockmont train station and battalion headquarters in Haut-Badeau. The battalion operated sawmills near Born, Vilsam, Tropoint, Stavelot, and Grand Hello. Orders have just arrived for a company to be assigned to support the upcoming 9th Armored Division attack to take the Roer River dams. Company Able got the mission and was to move into the vicinity of Born on the 16th.
The Panzer Group is at the Schmidheim Road start point. I arrive at 12th Volksgrenadier Division headquarters near Hallschlag to monitor reports of the fighting, indicating the breakthrough has occurred.
Baker, 291st, reported 4 large artillery rounds hit Malmedy. After inspecting the damage, I headed to Born to check on Company Able. In Born, I saw many members of the 106th Infantry Division and was told Company Able headquarters was in Amblev, so headed out. In Amblev, Company Able had heard the civilians talking of German buildup and expected attack. The 106th Infantry Division troops in the town spoke of hearing noises from the German lines.
12th Volksreiner Division fails to open Rolban Dora by 1400 hours. The Scheid Railroad Bridge, blown up during the fighting in September, still has not been replaced, plus 12th Volksreiner Division's horse-drawn artillery has been ordered forward, blocking the road. I head for the bridge to restore order and regulate movement. I order the Panzer Group forward. Outside of Stadtkill, the vehicles Kampfgruppe Hansen pull onto the road, slowing both movements. At Hauschlag, Kampfgruppe Hansen turns off, but now the road is still occupied by 12th Volksreiner Division horse-drawn artillery. Slowly, the Panzer Group moves forward. When the unit arrives, I order the lead driver to use the bypass I selected. The vehicles slide down the road embankment, cross the tracks 50 meters to the north, and turn back south to the road. We arrive at Losheim. Division radios the bridge between Losheim and Losheimer Graben has not been replaced. This is blocking Rolban Dora, and orders the Panzer Group to Lanzerhof, where 3rd Fallschirmjäger Division has made more progress but is stalled. Take over and get them moving, I'm told. The Panzer Group is the detour to Bulligen by Buchholz-Hansfeld. On the way to Lanzerhof, the point runs into a forgotten German minefield in front of Hallscheid. From the September fighting, it has to wait for the pioneers to make a breach. The Panzer Group reached Lanzerhof, 30 kilometers in 7.5 hours.
Heading back to the battalion command post, I passed 106 division troops that seemed jumpy, and at Bonnier, there were civilians on the road heading west.
About 20 hours behind schedule, the Panzer Group starts to advance on Buchholz. To deal with the expected enemy, 9th Fallschirmjäger Regiment troops walk ahead of the Panzer Group column. Each vehicle has a ground guide, and a company acted as flank protection, while most of the 2nd Battalion of the 9th Fallschirmjäger Regiment rode on the Tigers. The armor point passed through Buchholz, and the point company stopped long enough to capture the 2 anti-tank guns and 2 infantry platoons defending the area. The armor point tagged onto the end of bumper-to-bumper U.S. traffic heading for Hansfeld and drove all the way through town without incident. The point company deploys inside the town before the Americans knew what was going on. 3 reconnaissance platoons, 17 anti-tank guns, a reconnaissance company, and infantry regiment rest center are captured. The point company moved out as soon as the main band took over clearing out the town. The majority of 9th Fallschirmjäger Regiment stays in Hansfeld. 1 company stays with the Panzer Group riding on the Tigers. About dawn, the point encountered a company of engineers in defensive positions outside Bulligen, who conducted a fighting withdrawal when the point company started a flanking move. In a short fight, the town is taken. A number of engineers, a supply company, artillery service battery, recon platoon, and observation aircraft units of 3 divisions were captured. The Panzer Group topped off its fuel tanks from the depot in the town square, stacked extra cans on the vehicles, and moved on. My command tank broke down, so I switched to Diefenthal Command SPW. After the point company exits the town, the armor point's 4 vehicles appear from the north and fall in behind the Panzer Group headquarters. Speed it being more important, I ignore the column's organization and continue on.
Baker, 291st, reports 3rd Platoon leader, Lieutenant Rea, in Butenbach, was told German tanks had broken through east of Butenbach when an order came in to take command of all 1111th Engineer Combat Group units in Malmedy and set up defense. I ordered Company Abel in Ambleave to return to Webermont. I ordered Company Charlie in Stewmont to Malmedy and to place a squad roadblock on the Ambleave River Bridge in Stavelot.
No sooner has the sun come out than the overcast clears and Yabos appear. Flak keeps the 1st group at bay. 2 more groups are jumped by Luftwaffe Jagdflieger and chased away. 1 tank and 2 flak wagons are lost while the advance continues without delay. Most of the short distance to Motorscheid is a mud track that mires many vehicles. Having to recover mired vehicles further mixes up the march order. The column is destroying or capturing individuals and small groups of enemy as it moves. Just before Thiamont, the column captures a U.S. Jeep with a lieutenant colonel in it. I get into the Jeep and during the interrogation learn of the 49th Anti-Aircraft Artillery Brigade headquarters in Ligneville. The Americans do not know the location of my Panzer Group. I order a shortcut across country roads to get to the 49th headquarters as fast as possible.
The two-man Company Baker Jeep Recon team to Weymouth reports almost running into a column of 68 German vehicles, half of them tanks, near Thiermont. The Malmedy defense perimeter consists of 11 roadblocks, each manned by a squad reinforced with a machine gun, bazooka, mines, and demolition obstacles. Charlie 291st Squad set up a roadblock east of Stavelot, where a shallow S-turn cuts around across the face of a cliff. They emplaced 13 mines across the road right before the curve, inside a bazooka on the right side of the road, and M1919 machine gun to the left, 30 yards back.
The Point Company is mired in marshy ground on the shortcut to Ligneville. I ordered the armor point to Ligneville via Bagatelle and Bonnier. The order of march is now Armor Point, Panzer Group Headquarters, Main Body, and Point Company. Upon hearing tank gun and machine gun fire up ahead, I get back in the Diefenthal's SPW. Sternbreck radioed the armor point is engaging an enemy column. I order a ceasefire to avoid warning the enemy in Ligneville to keep going and capture the Amblev River Bridge in that town. As the command group approached Bonnier, enemy troops with their hands up behind their heads are walking towards us. We wave them to the rear. Warning shots are fired at enemy appearing to be playing dead and those near the woods trying to escape. The command group keeps going, and I order the main body to keep going to Ligneville. Flecke climbs into the SPW with maps he took off the Americans. In Ligneville, the armor point has secured the bridge. As my friend Fisher's Panther moved up to the bridge, it was hit from behind by enemy tank fire. After the SPW moved to cover, I dismounted with a Panzerfaust to go after the enemy tank, but a grenadier from the 11th Panzer Grenadier Company got it first. I headed to Fisher and provided first aid until the medic arrived.
After hearing the sound of gunfire from the direction of Bonnier Crossroad, I go south to investigate and encounter 3 soldiers. After returning to town, I learned they have survived a massacre and sent a report to 1st Army. The 51st Engineer Battalion informs me its Company Charlie has been ordered to Troyes to prepare the 12th Amblev River and 1 Somme River bridges for demolition.
Ligneville is taken, capturing the trains of a tank, armored infantry, and artillery battalion of 9th Armored Division, plus all equipment and files of the 49th Anti-Aircraft Artillery Brigade headquarters. A quick discussion with Panzer Group officers and the division commanders held about continuing the advance to Stavelot. With the Yabo threat and the need to reorganize the column, I decided to wait for dark to move on. In addition to the few damaged and destroyed tanks, 29 have broken down. After dark, 1st Panzer Company, followed by 11th Panzer Grenadier Company, starts for Stavelot. The tanks miss the turn for Stavelot and have to turn around. The column is now led by Panzer Grenadiers in a captured American Jeep.
Charlie 291st reports after dark, the sentry at the distant roadblock in Stavelot shouted halt at an approaching vehicle and was fired upon. Charlie 291st returned fire with the MG and bazooka, then withdrew to the Amblev River Bridge in Stavelot. At the bridge, the squad met strange-looking GIs, but believed the bridge was rigged for demolition and continued on.
The lead Jeep received machine gun and anti-tank fire while negotiating a S-turn. The sheer drop to the north and 20-foot rock face to the south, combined with thick forest, prevent flanking the enemy. The Panzer Group has been on the move for 40 hours. We will wait for morning to attack when the Grenadiers can be in position. The attached Panzer Brigade 150 Pioneer Commando will infiltrate Stavelot and defuse charges on the bridge. 11th Panzer Grenadier Company will start a dismounted attack to occupy the ground east of the Amblev River, and 9th Engineer Company will check the bridge for demolitions. Artillery and mortars will open fire on suspected American positions. Then the 1st and 2nd Panzer Companies will rush across the bridge. The rest of the 3rd Battalion, 2nd SS Panzer Grenadier Regiment is reserve. When the tanks rush the bridge in Stavelot, 6th and 7th Panzer Companies, 3rd Engineer Company, and some Fallschirmjägers will start for Troyes by a southern route.
Strange American soldiers were observed on the Amblev River Bridge while it was being prepared for demolition. One was detained and taken to command post, but was lost track of when fighting broke out. The Charlie 291st roadblock on the Amblev River in Stavelot reports 2 armored infantry platoons and 2 3-inch anti-tank guns crossed to the south bank around 0600 hours and immediately came under fire. As the infantry withdrew across the bridge, German infantry followed. The explosive charges on the bridge failed to fire. Dawn was approaching, and German artillery and mortar fire started hitting around us. Suddenly, there were German tanks crossing the bridge in spite of our anti-tank fire. More German tanks and armored cars drove quickly to town square, and infantry spread out. We had no choice but to withdraw.
With the grenadiers on the South River bank, the panzers rushed into the town. After about 2 hours of fighting, the Americans abandoned Stavlo. Armored infantry, engineers, anti-tank gunners, 5 armored personnel carriers, and 4 anti-tank guns were taken for 2 tanks damaged. 1st and 2nd Panzer Company and the 10th Panzer Grenadier Company head for Trappont. The lead Panther was immobilized by an enemy anti-tank gun hidden behind a building just before the bridges.
51st Engineers reports blowing the 3 bridges in front of 2 German tank columns. One German column turned north and the other turned back east. I ordered Able 291st in Wevermont to prepare the Leon River Bridge for demolition.
With the bridges at Trappont destroyed, I checked the map and selected a detour to Wevermont by way of L'Église and crossed the Ambelev River at Chunot. 1st and 2nd Panzer Companies and 10th Panzer Grenadier Company turned north, while 6th and 7th Armored Companies, 3rd Engineer Company, and the Fallschirmjägers start back for Stavlo but run out of fuel at Bain. The leading tanks raked the buildings in L'Église for suspected enemy positions and engaged people rushing around the Chunot Bridge with machine gun fire. A number of Belgian civilians are killed. After passing through Chunot, the column was attacked by Yabos. A second air attack strikes the length of the column all the way back to Le Dôme. The advance is delayed 1.5 hours. Upon reaching Chavide, I ordered Diefenthal to continue on and capture the Leon River Bridge with a surprise attack using 1st and 2nd Panzer Companies, 10th and 11th Panzer Grenadier Companies.
Able 291st reports 45 minutes after finished placing 2,500 pounds of explosives on the Leon Creek Bridge. A German tank column approached. The bridge was blown and the squad withdrew under German tank fire.
Shortly after hearing a distant explosion, Diefenthal radios the bridge was blown up right in front of the lead tank. Krause's SPW has just arrived, so I climb in and head forward. I order a tank to attempt to ford Leon Creek. The water is too deep and the tank pulls back. 10th and 11th Panzer Grenadier Companies are sent to recon bridges to the north. Bridges found cannot support our tanks, and 10th Company suffers heavy losses when it encountered enemy tanks and infantry. Looking at the map, the Panzer Group will detour by backtracking to L'Église to go to Auvel, to take Rollbahn C to Esnex, then get back on Rollbahn D at Tinlot. The unit withdraws to Chateau Frutecourt for the night. All vehicles are low on fuel. The air liaison team arrives at the chateau, and I'm able to contact division for the first time in about 24 hours. The enemy 30th Infantry and 7th Armored Divisions are moving into the sector.
30th Infantry Division reports 5 half-tracks with German armored infantry cross Lefort Bridge, turned south, and were shot up by M10 from Company Able 823rd Tank Destroyer Battalion and Company Fox 119th Infantry in Habermont. The one prisoner taken was a member of the 2nd SS Panzer Grenadier Regiment.
I ordered von Westerhagen to hold L'Église with his 6 available Tigers. With my rear secure, I sent a company of grenadiers, engineers, and the Fallschirmjäger to make a dismounted attack on Stillmont from the south. The dismounted attack is inside the town, and I send 2nd Panzer Company into the east side of the town on the road. The fight takes place in fog, limiting visibility to 50 meters. The lead Panzer Company deployed north of the field to attack the town. This broke the defense, and we entered the town. In the 90-minute fight, about 209 troops, 11 anti-tank guns, 2 heavy flak, and many vehicles were captured, with 1 tank destroyed and 1 damaged. The unit has plenty of ammunition, but we are very low on fuel.
30th Infantry Division reports the 2 tank platoons, battalion of infantry, company of anti-tank guns, and 2 90mm anti-aircraft guns pulled out of Stillmont after being attacked by about 40 German tanks. 6 enemy tanks, 3 armored personnel carriers, and many troops claimed.
2nd Panzer Company and 11th Panzer Grenadier Company continue advance west from Stillmont. The column encounters heavy fire, takes the Stillmont train station, but suffers heavy losses near Zempre-Furna. After an hour of fighting, I order a withdrawal. The patrols sent toward Loride and Spa to look for fuel return after encountering roadblocks. I receive a report of Stavlo being taken by the Americans and sent the just arrived 500 men of the 1st SS Panzeraufklärungsabteilung to retake Stavlo, but the attack turns back after the Americans blow up the bridge. The Panzer Group has advanced 100 kilometers in 72 hours. Surrounded, I set up defenses at Stillmont, Chunot, L'Église, and Moulin-Marcel to wait for the division to break through.
The troops from Stillmont were joined by another infantry battalion, platoon of anti-tank guns, 2 M4s, a 90mm anti-aircraft gun, and 2 battalions of artillery to defend Stillmont train station and Zabonfrey-Ferme. The 1st SS Panzer Division attacked and was driven back with heavy losses.
After 4 days of fighting, heavy attacks by elements of 3 American divisions, it is decided to get the men out. Everything that cannot be carried out is destroyed. A small group will stay behind to make it look like the town is still occupied. The 800 surviving members of the Panzer Group start walking out of L'Église. 770 men cross the Somme River at Rochlenvelle and reach the 1st SS Panzer Division regiment lines. This concludes our presentation. Are there any questions?